Lights, camera, podcast. This is the Silver Screen Sessions podcast with your host, Pete. Your fortnightly dose of movie talk, reviews, and all things film. From blockbusters to hidden gems, Pete will be breaking down what's worth watching, what's overrated, and everything in between. So grab your popcorn, take your seats, and let's roll the reel.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Silver Screen Sessions podcast, the show where we tap our toes, clap along, and celebrate the films that get stuck in your head and your heart. I'm Pete, your host, and today we're rewinding the clock to 1964, an era of jukeboxes, Beatlemania, and perfectly pressed suits, for a movie that captures lightning in a box. That Thing You Do. Written and directed by Tom Hanks, this is one of those films that sneaks up on you. It's funny, warm, endlessly rewatchable, and somehow feels just as fresh today as it did in 1996. It's a movie about music, ambition, and fleeting fame, about a song that hits the charts and changes everything for one small town band. So grab your shades, shine those black and white shoes, and let's ride the rhythm through That Thing You Do. So the story, the wonders take the stage. We open in Erie, Pennsylvania, not exactly the heart of rock and roll, but for Guy Patterson, it might as well be Abbey Road. Guy works in his dad's appliance store, but dreams in rhythm. He's obsessed with jazz, drums, and the magic of music. When local band, the Oneidas, loses their drummer, Guy steps in. Their song, That Thing You Do, starts as a sleepy ballad, until Guy, during their first gig, decides to pick up the tempo. Suddenly, it transforms into an upbeat, toe-tapping pop anthem. The crowd goes wild. That one spark changes everything. Soon, they're cutting a record, getting radio play, and catching the attention of Mr. White, a slick manager played by Tom Hanks. He renames them The Wonders, as in, I wonder what happened to them. And the band is off on a whirlwind ride. They tour state fairs, appear on TV, and even perform on the Hollywood Television Showcase, the 60s equivalent of making it big. But behind the smiles, cracks start to show. Lead singer Jimmy wants artistic control. Lenny just wants girls and laughs. Faye, Jimmy's girlfriend, starts realising her heart belongs to Guy instead. And just like the song itself, their fame burns bright, fast, and then fades. It's a story about the cost of chasing a dream and the beauty of the moment when everything clicks. For the cast, harmony, heart, and perfect timing. The cast in That Thing You Do is pitch perfect. Tom Everett Scott plays Guy Patterson. A fun fact, Tom Hanks almost didn't cast him because he looked too much like a young Hanks. But thank goodness he changed his mind. Scott brings this warmth and spark that make you instantly root for him. Liv Tyler plays Faye, the heart of the band. She's patient, kind, and quietly the emotional centre of the story. Her line near the end, I've wasted thousands and thousands of kisses on you, is delivered with so much sincerity it still stops you in your tracks. Jonathan Sheik is Jimmy, the tortured artist who takes himself way too seriously. He's every perfectionist frontman who forgets why they start playing music in the first place. Steve Zahn as Lenny is the soul of comic relief. Irreverent, hilarious, and the first to laugh when everything goes wrong. Zahn steals every scene he's in without even stealing focus. Then there's Ethan Embry, the bass player. Never named, always smiling, just happy to be there, the ultimate background guy in every band. And of course, Tom Hanks as Mr. White, the smooth-talking, slightly mysterious record executive who shepherds the band to fame and watches it all fall apart. Hanks's performance is understated but magnetic, the calm in the chaos. Even small roles shine, like Charlize Theron's glamorous cameo as Guy's distracted girlfriend, and Chris Isaac as the humble church musician who helped the band record their first demo. It's one of those casts where every single person brings charm and authenticity. So behind the scenes, Tom Hanks, typewriters and timing. Tom Hanks wrote That Thing You Do during downtime on Forrest Gump, reportedly on a vintage typewriter while on set. He'd always been fascinated by that early 60s pop explosion, the moment when local garage bands could become overnight sensations. He wanted to make something nostalgic, optimistic, and family-friendly. This was Hanks' directorial debut, and it shows off of his knack for tone and pacing. He's not trying to make it a high drama, he's making something heartfelt and timeless. The film was produced by Playtone, the company Hanks would later turn into his production label, responsible for hits like Band of Brothers, Mamma Mia, and That Thing You Do's spiritual cousin, music and lyrics. As for the song itself, That Thing You Do, Adam Schlesinger from Fountains of Wayne wrote it in one day. Hanks reportedly sent out the call for submissions, asking for a song that sounded like it could believably hit the top 10 in 1964. Schlesinger nailed it. The song reached 41 on the Billboard charts in real life. Not bad for a fictional band. So the music, hooks, harmonies and heartbeats. The film's music is its heartbeat, and the soundtrack is stacked. That Thing You Do itself is irresistible. The perfect blend of catchy and clever with the iconic snare intro that Guy speeds up. Once you hear it, it never leaves your head. Other songs like Dance With Me Tonight, Little Wild One and All My Only Dreams perfectly recreate that early pop sound. Jangly guitars, tambourines and those clean harmonies that feel straight out of the British invasion era. Tom Hanks insisted the actors actually learn to play so their performances would look authentic. The onstage chemistry, the smiles, the small mistakes, all feel real because they are. And then there's the way the movie uses the music. Not just a soundtrack, but as storytelling. The tempo of That Thing You Do literally represents their journey. Slow and uncertain at first, then bright, energetic and unstoppable. By the time it fades out, you feel like you've lived every beat with them. The 60s aesthetic, colour, culture and charm. So let's talk style. Because That Thing You Do absolutely nails the 1960s vibe. From the bright suits to the chrome microphones and pastel diners, it's like stepping into a Technicolor time capsule. Every costume, every sign, every record player feels lovingly recreated. But it's not just visual nostalgia, it's emotional nostalgia. The movie captures that feeling of being young, ambitious, and certain that your band's next gig could change your life. The cultural references are spot on. From screaming fans to TV variety shows to the early days of rock and roll commercialization. You can see the influence of the Beatles, the Beach Boys, the Byrds, even the rise of Motown is hinted in the background. The movie isn't cynical about fame. It's fascinated by it. It shows both the magic and the melancholy of the spotlight. So the themes, dreaming big and crashing hard. That Thing You Do is deceptively deep. Beneath the bright lights and catchy tunes, it's a story about dreams, ego, and the fleeting nature of success. Jimmy wants to be important. Guy just wants to play. Lenny wants to enjoy the ride. And Faye, she wants love and meaning. The band's rise mirrors so many real 60s stories, from the Monkees to the Dave Clark 5, where sudden fame tore young musicians apart. There's also a quiet commentary on how the music industry can eat its young. Mr. White isn't evil, but he represents that machine where authenticity gets replaced by marketing. And yet, Hanks doesn't let it turn cynical. He reminds us that even when the fame fades, the experience, that one song, was worth it. So the legacy and reception, from cult classic to comfort movie. When That Thing You Do came out in 1996, it wasn't a massive box office hit, but over time it became something better, a beloved comfort movie. Critics praised its charm, its optimism, and the endlessly catchy tune. Audiences connected with its heart. Over the years, it's become a staple of feel-good cinema, the kind of movie you can watch on a Sunday afternoon and instantly feel better about life. And in 2020, during lockdown, the cast reunited on Zoom to raise money for COVID relief, playing the song again 24 years later. It was a perfect reminder that even decades on, that beat still makes people smile. That Thing You Do is, quite simply, joy in movie form. It's about optimism, creativity, and that fleeting spark when everything falls into place. The direction is confident, the music infectious, the performance is charming, and the pacing is just right. If it has any flaw, it's that you want more. More songs, more touring, more wonders. But maybe that's part of the magic. My rating, 9.5 out of 10. It's a film that makes you smile, hum, and remember that art, at its best, is about connection. And that's That Thing You Do. A movie that reminds us sometimes lightning strikes once. And that's enough to last forever. If you haven't seen it lately, give it another spin. And fair warning, you will be singing the title track for days. Thanks for tuning in to the Silver Screen Sessions podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, hit follow, leave a review, and share it with someone who loves movies, music, and a little bit of magic. Next time, we're turning up the volume and taking to the skies with Top Gun Maverick, where Tom Cruise proves that speed, skill, and heart never go out of style. Until then, keep your groove steady, your heart on beat, and remember, it only takes one song to change your life.